Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatles Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be doing a bit of a collection update because I've got a few things that I bought recently, mostly this past weekend, that I wanted to show you. There's some 7-inch singles, there's a couple of 12-inch singles, the rest are LPs. There's a couple of things that are non-Beatles related, but most of the stuff that I'm going to show you is Beatles related, and it includes what I would consider to be a bit of a Beatles Grail, which I'm really happy to have. Now, at the weekend, me and Mrs. Beatley Tone, we went to Bath, which, if you don't know, is in the southwest of England. And I think I've told you this before, that whenever we go away for the weekend, we like to find a local record store and do a bit of record shopping, and that's what we did. So most of the stuff that I'm going to show you comes from Resolution Records in Bath, and I'm giving a shout out to Jackson, who works there, who said he was going to follow the channel, and he was instrumental in me finding this Grail because I almost missed it. And there's a story there, and I'll tell you that when I show it. He did say he was going to follow the channel, so if you are here, Jackson from Resolution Records in Bath, welcome to the channel. And while I'm welcoming people to the channel, we've had a lot of new subscribers recently. The last video, the review of the John Lennon film Borrowed Time, last looking was at about 8.7 thousand views, and it brought in a lot of new subscribers. So if you are new to the channel and you've recently subscribed, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the content here. Okay, so I've got quite a few things to get through. There's a couple of these items that didn't come from Resolution Records in Bath. They've come from either eBay or Discogs. I'm not sure which, but the stuff that comes from Resolution Records should be able to tell you the price because it's all fresh in my mind. So we'll start off with this first item, which didn't come from Resolution Records. Now, about a month and a bit ago, it was my birthday and I was 64, and Mrs. Beatley Tone sought out this single, which is When I'm 64 on red vinyl. Well, technically When I'm 64 is actually the B-side. The A-side is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Now you can see there, this is a jukebox only pressing from Capitol. It came out in 1987, that's the date on it. And it is a beauty, it is a looker, isn't it? I'm very, very pleased to have that. It was a complete surprise. This is not something that I had been searching for. In fact, I didn't even know it existed, if I'm absolutely honest. But she found it and gave it to me as a birthday present. So really happy to have that. So that is When I'm 64 on red vinyl. So next up is this 12-inch single, and I've really got back into 12-inch singles recently, and if you follow the channel for a while, then you know that I'm a big fan of the Jam, but I don't have to have everything that they ever put out in every format. But this particular single, Just Who Is the 5 O'Clock Hero, was never released in the UK as a single. It was available on import, but it was never actually released in the UK. And this is a German pressing, or as it was known in 1982 when this came out, a West German pressing. And as I say, it's got 3 tracks on it. Just Who's the 5 O'Clock Hero, which comes from their final album, The Gift. It's also got a cover of War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And The Great Depression. That is the back of the sleeve with the tracks and the musician credits, and I'll show you the vinyl. You'll probably get a bit of glare. So this is the A-side. Look how much dead wax there is on that. As I say, there's no extra music here. This isn't an extended remix or anything. It's just exactly the same as the album track. And you can see, if you see it close up, you can see made in West Germany, and that is the B-side with War and The Great Depression on it. Okay, so I did get that from Resolution Records. It was 10 quid. It plays lovely, so I'm pleased to have it, even though I didn't need it. So talking of 12-inch singles that I didn't really need, takes me to the next item, John Lennon's Borrowed Time on 12-inch. Seen the film, bought the 12-inch in the same week, and that front cover shows a picture of John teaching Sean how to shave, a valuable life lesson. The B-sides on here are Yoko's tracks Your Hands from Milk and Honey and Never Say Goodbye, which comes from her 1982 album It's Alright, which I have. So again, I'm not getting any new music that I don't already own, but I just fancied it, and because I'm into 12-inch singles again, and that is the A-side. I say it's not an extended mix or remix or anything like that. It's exactly the same track that's on the Milk and Honey album. There is Close Up, the label. It is a UK pressing, and that is the B-side. Okay, so that's Borrowed Time on 12-inch. Pick this up from Resolution Records in Bath. It was a tenner. It plays lovely. I'm glad to have it, even though I didn't need it. So finally, an album that I did actually need, and that is Elton John's 1975 album Captain Fantastic and the Dirt Brown Cowboy. I've never owned this on vinyl, and now I do. I think that I have all of Elton's 1970s albums now on vinyl, so pleased to complete that collection. Once we get into the 80s, I kind of lose interest a little bit in Elton, but all his 70s stuff is just so good. And you know, the artwork for this album is quite extraordinary, very, very elaborate, and quite magnificent. And that is the gatefold. Put your shirt on, Bernie. That is the track listing there. And that is the other side there, and I'll show you the vinyl. But I've played this a couple of times, and this is such a great sounding record, a really, really well produced record, and for a 50-year-old album, this has really been looked after. It just sounds really great, and no surface noise, hardly any surface noise at all, not that you would notice or distract you from the record. So really pleased to have picked this up and to have found one in such good condition. And this was 12 quid. What a bargain. 12 quid for this. And while I was there, I picked up another Elton John album. This is Elton John Live at the Rainbow 1977. This came out for Record Store Day a few weeks ago on April the 12th. Now, when I went to Record Store Day in my record shop, they had this for 35 quid, and I walked away. I did want it, make no mistake, I did want it, but I didn't want to pay 35 quid for it, and I've now paid 25 quid for this, so very happy to have picked this up. That is the track listing, and it's a really good track listing covering, you know, something from almost all of Elton John's albums up to 1977 when he did this gig. There's a couple of tracks from the self-titled Elton John album from 1970. There's a track from Tumbleweed Connection, tracks from Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Caribou and Blue Moves and Rock of the Westies. So a good spread of tracks. Now, the performance at the Rainbow Theatre in London went out, I'm not sure if it was live or not, but it was broadcast on BBC Radio 1 in June 1977. This is the first time it's been out on vinyl, and that is the Record Store Day hype sticker. And it says there's 3 tracks there: Sweet Painted Lady, Idol, and Dan Dare, live performance of those being released for the first time. And this album is, I'll just show you the vinyl quickly before I carry on droning on about this. There's the vinyl. Now, this performance is just Elton John with a piano on his own, so no backing band, but there are a few tracks in which his percussionist Ray Cooper, who obviously played on quite a few of George Harrison's albums, is on a few of these tracks, but it's mostly Elton solo just with a piano. It's a really, really nice record, and I'm very pleased to pick this up for 10 quid cheaper than I would have paid for it on Record Store Day. One more non-Beatles album, and then it's Beatles all the way, and that album is this one, The Pretenders, the singles, their greatest hits package from 1987. Now, I've had this on CD probably since it first came out, but I've never had it on vinyl, and this was £3. I could not turn this down for £3. Great back of the cover there, and a stellar list of hit singles there between 1979 1985. Beatles connection. Robbie McIntosh and Blair Cunningham were in the Pretenders, also played in Paul McCartney's band, and a couple of these songs were produced by Bob Clearmountain, who did a couple of remixes of some of the Flowers tracks. Ure Le Soleil, I think, was one of them. That is the inner sleeve there, and just like that on the back. I haven't had a chance to play this one yet, but it doesn't look like it's been played very often. It's a very clean copy, and this is a French pressing, so for £3 I couldn't really say no. So next up is this album, Imagine John Lennon. This is the soundtrack album from the 1988 documentary, which was brilliant, by the way, and I used to have this on CD, and I have no idea where that CD is now. I just cannot find it, so I've been looking for it on vinyl for quite some time, but a lot of people, whenever I see it online, people were asking about £50 for it, and I wasn't really going to pay that for it. But it is a double album, and they had it in Resolution Records for £20, so I snapped it up, and that is the spine of the album there, and it is in pretty good nick. It's got a little bit of ring wear there on the sleeve. That is the track listing. Just up there. So it's a mix of Beatles songs and solo songs, but the real draw for this when it first came out, and I suppose the same applies now, is that this had an early version of Real Love on it, which hadn't been released at the time. So we were hearing Real Love for the first time on this record, and it also had the Imagine rehearsal on it, which I don't think had been out either at the time when this came out in 1988. Obviously now it's on the Imagine box set, and we've got it, but at that time it was a new track. This is the gatefold, which is very nice, sort of selection of photographs from throughout John's life, and this is a UK pressing, quite a strange Apple logo there, and the inner sleeves sort of look like that, and on the other side you've got the musician credits there. They don't come out too well on as light grey on white, and that is the vinyl. Again, it looks really clean. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but looking forward to that. I'll show you the other LP as well, just because the inner sleeve is different. It's the same on that side, but there you've got the musician credits there, and this sort of white with a light grey font on it. They kind of carried that on until, to the Imagine box set that came out in 2018, which is quite interesting. And that is the second LP. So it is on Parlophone, sort of 80s Parlophone label there. But very nice. So very pleased to pick that up and get that album again after all these years of losing the CD. This next one is an interesting one. I didn't pick this up at the weekend. Got this online and it was new and sealed. And I didn't even think that Ringo did box sets, but apparently this one came out for Record Store Day in 2013, US only. So as I say, I didn't, completely passed me by. I didn't even know it existed. And that is the contents of the box. It's got 3 7-inch singles in it and a poster. And I'll show you them. So the first one is It Don't Come Easy. So these come in with the original picture sleeve designs, but it's a much harder paper than the originals were. And that is the A side, Don't Come Easy. And early 1970 on the B. I don't know why they come with a hole in it, but very kindly they include a hub that you can put in it, and I also use it in my my red when I was 64 as well. So that is It Don't Come Easy. Then there's Photograph from the Ringo album. Which looks like that. And Down and Out on the B-side there, the original B-side. And then finally Goodnight Vienna with Ooh Wee on the back there. And that is the A-side there. And that is the B-side, Ooh Wee. And you also get a poster in here as well. Now, this is not the greatest poster you'll ever see, but this was used for the promotion of Goodnight Vienna. So that's Ringo with Klaatu, not the real Ringo, and not the real Klaatu either, on top of the Capitol building, but quite nice to have that sort of promotional item included. So really good box set this so I'm very happy to have that, and it's not that hard to find. You can find them online. They've even still got these on Ringo's US website, and they're selling them on there for about $30. I can't remember what I paid for this, but I think I got this from Discogs and from a UK seller. So very happy to have this. So we've arrived at the final record, the Grail, and when we arrived at Resolution Records, went straight over to the Beatles section and started going through them. Found the John Lennon Imagine soundtrack, found the Borrowed Time 12-inch, and couldn't find anything else that I was interested in, that I wanted or needed. So we just carried on going around, the other artists' crates, and picked out the records that I've shown you. And when we went to the counter to pay for them, Mrs. Beatley Tone said to Jackson behind the counter, "Have you got any Beatles stuff that has just come in that you haven't put out yet?" And he said, "No, everything is out. But did you see the Let It Be?" And I did see the Let It Be, and the Let It Be was marked up. It had a little label on it, said exactly what it was, but I just totally missed it. And I just thought it was a regular copy of Let It Be, because it looks like a regular copy of Let It Be. But when you get it out of the sleeve, and this is a 50-year-old album, the sleeve is in pretty good nick. There's a couple of blemishes on it, but the sleeve is generally in very good nick. You see there's a little mark there, but generally it's okay. But anyway, we get it out of the inner sleeve. It's Let It Be on white vinyl, and it is a thing of beauty and really, really nice. And I said, how much is it? And he said £100, and I went, no, I don't think so. Mrs. Beatley Tone said, "What are you even thinking about? You'll probably never ever see another one of these again." And who am I to argue? It's not like I'm in charge or anything. So I said, okay. And when we left the store, I had a look on Discogs, and there was a few on for sale on eBay, and people were asking over £200 for these. So I think it was a good price. He said that it came in the day before, which meant that it was, it's really a case of being in the right place at the right time. And I almost missed it. If Mrs. Beatley Tone hadn't have asked, I would have completely missed it, even though it did have a label on it saying it was on white vinyl and what the price was. Now, the history of this is that this is a UK pressing, and in 1978 these were pressed on white vinyl, but for export only, so they weren't available to buy in the UK, only in other countries. And coloured vinyl in the late 70s never sounded that great, but I have played this and it sounds pretty good. Well, very good actually, much better than I expected it to sound. There was a little bit of surface noise on it, but it's quite thick vinyl, for 1970s, you can see there. And so it sounds really good. And so this really was a case of being in the right place at the right time. And So I feel very lucky that, you know, that Mrs. Beatles actually asked. Otherwise, we'd just completely missed it. So really happy to have got this, and you know, it is a bit of a grail. So I think that's enough incoming vinyl for 1 month. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I go. Please remember to give the video a like. It only takes like a second of your life, and it really helps my videos get out to more people, helps the channel. So you'd be doing me a big favor. If you've just stumbled across this video by accident, never seen the channel before, and therefore you're not subscribed, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing. Love to have you along for the ride. And if you aren't subscribed and have made it this far through the video, you will have noticed that you've not seen any adverts whatsoever mid-roll during this video. That's because I don't have adverts mid-roll on any of my videos, which is another great reason to subscribe. Okay, that is it from me. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.